Hello, what I'm going to be covering in the next few videos are lists in Python. So a list is an ordered sequence of Python objects. The objects can be of any type and do not have to all be the same type. A list is constructed by writing its items enclosed in square brackets with the items separated by commas. Therefore, lists are comma delimited. A list value is a mutable data type. It can have values added, removed, or changed. So let me just go ahead and type in a few examples of some lists here. So we'll type in Packers 2019 and Lambeau Field. And if I hit enter, it'll go ahead and display the list that I typed in. The next one, so that was a combination of both strings and numbers. Type in 5, 10, 4, and 5. This is just a list of numbers, and let me go ahead and type in spam, eggs, bacon, and knee. And I'll go ahead, hit enter, and then again, this is a list of strings. So lists are usually assigned to a variable name. So let me just go ahead and, so team would go ahead and equal the values of my first list. So let me just Control C that in. And then if I specify team, it'll go ahead and display the values of team. Let me set nums equal to my list of numbers. And if I go ahead type in nums, it'll go ahead and display my numbers. And then finally, I'll set words equal to my list of words, which are spam, eggs, bacon, and knee. And I will hit enter, and I'll display the words, and it'll come back with my lists. So like the characters in a string, items in a list are indexed from the front with positive indices starting with 0, and from the back with negative indices starting with a -1. The value of the item with index I is denoted by the list name and then I in square brackets. So let me just go ahead and specify team at index 0. So that should come back, if we look at team, that should come back with Packers. If we go ahead and list team at index 1, it should be 2019. And then finally team at index 2, it'll go ahead and list Lambeau Field. If I want to go ahead and use -1, start from the end of the list. If I specify -1 in words, we should see knee should get returned. And if I go ahead and specify -4, what should get returned is spam, which it does. So next thing I'm going to do, if you go ahead and specify an index that does not exist in the list, then what'll come back is your list index out of range. So that's a very common error that you'll run into, where your index is out of range by specifying the incorrect index number. The other thing is that you cannot use floating point numbers to access item in a list. It'll come back and list indices must be integers or slices, not a float. So that's what we're going to talk about next, are slices. So just as an index can get a single value from a list, a slice can get several values from the list in the form of a new list. A slice is typed between square brackets like an index, but it has two integers separated by a colon. So if I go ahead and type in nums and specify 2, basically this is a list with an index. It'll return one integer. If I go ahead and specify nums 1:3, then what this will do is it will return 10 and 4. So in a slice, the first integer is the index where the slice starts. The second integer is the index where the slice ends. A slice goes up to but will not include the value of the second index. A slice will evaluate to a new list value. So let's go ahead and what we're going to do is we're going to slice up words. So I'll specify 0 and 4, and what that'll return is everything in that list, spam, eggs, bacon, and knee. So it'll return the items at 0, 1, 2, 3. So the last number again it is the actual it goes up to but not includes the value of that second index. So if I tried to go ahead and type in 0, 5 for words, tried to do a slice of that, it would just go ahead and return the 4 values again for me. If I wanted to return values 1 and 2, I would go ahead and specify 1:3, and what that'll do is that'll return eggs and bacon for me. And then finally, if I wanted to go ahead and specify 0, -1 as my slice, basically what that will do is it'll go ahead and include everything starting at position 0, which is spam, up to through but not including my last index, which is knee. So it'll just go ahead and return spam, eggs, and bacon. As a shortcut, you can leave out one or both of the indexes on either side of the colon in the slice. Leaving out the first index is the same as using 0 or the beginning of the list. Leaving out the second index is the same as using the length of the list, which will slice to the end of the list. So again, if I go ahead and if I specify words and then I specify :2, this should return the first 2 items in my list, and it does both spam and eggs. If I specify words and then 1:, and I don't specify the ending point, it should return eggs, bacon, and knee. Again, it does. And then if I do not specify anything, just specify the colon, it'll go ahead and return the entire list for me. So this is part 1 of the video. In part 2 of the video, I'm going to walk through some of the various list functions and methods that you can go ahead and use.